After the disaster that was Season 2 of NBA Live Mobile, it was really nice for me to be able to return to the game and actually have fun in Season 3. While the game has been a lot better, there are definitely still a few different things that I would love to see EA do to improve the game for the next season, especially now that they have some serious competition in NBA 2K Mobile. If there are any things that you guys would like to see in the NBA Live Mobile Season 4, make sure you comment them down below, as hopefully at some point the developers at EA will take a look at this video. Also, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys plan on playing next season, because I will definitely be here for it. Now, I'm expecting a lot of the comments down below to probably be about wanting new animations, new jump shots, dunk packages, and new game modes. And while all those things would be really nice to have, I don't think that they're necessarily what NBA Live Mobile needs the most. And the reason is, those things would be nice, but the main issues with the game, the things that make it less fun than it could potentially be, is not that I can't do a between the legs 360 dunk. It's not that I can't do contact dunks or play different game modes or whatever it would be. Like, those things would be cool. But the essence of NBA Live Mobile is that it is a card slash economy slash gameplay based game. So the ability to gain cards, the ability to use the economy, and the gameplay are the three main things that make up the game. I would say right now, for the most part, the ability to gain cards has been pretty good, especially recently. There's been a lot of good promos that you haven't had to pay a lot of money in order to be able to compete in them, and that's why NBA Live Mobile Season 3 has been really good. But I would say there are 5 things that need major changes in order for NBA Live Mobile to be able to keep up with NBA 2K Mobile in Season 4. The first thing I would say needs to be changed is the gameplay. If you've played NBA Live Mobile since Season 0 like I have, you've probably realized that the gameplay has not really changed at all. Most of the same animations are still there. For the most part, the characters still move the same. There just hasn't been much of a change in gameplay. That wouldn't be a problem if initially we had great gameplay, but initially we got beta gameplay, and it kind of still seems like we got beta gameplay right now. There's been some new animations added, there's been a new camera angle added, but for the most part, NBA Live Mobile is the most basic possible gameplay that you can have in order for it to actually seem like a basketball game. There's a few different issues that I would say make gameplay not fun. Part of it is that it's just not realistic. I'll give you an example. There is no real reactive function to the block and steal buttons unless you are standing directly in front of the person that you're guarding. What I mean by that is, if you're standing in front of a person who's dribbling the basketball, then you have a chance to steal it. If you're standing in front of a person who's about to shoot the basketball, you have a chance to block it. Outside of those two scenarios, the steal and the block button really don't do anything whenever you're playing defense. If you're chasing down somebody on a fast break, you're not going to get a chase down block. If even you are perfectly in position to intercept a pass when you're playing defense, most of the time your player won't get it. If you have the AI controlling for you, there's a chance that they'll intercept the pass, but if you actually try to use the steal button to intercept a pass, 9 out of 10 times it won't work. It works the same way with rebounds. You actually have a better chance of your AI getting a rebound than you do of you controlling your own player and trying to jump for it. For some reason, it seems like shooting guards in NBA Live Mobile are somehow better at rebounding than a 7'3" center. There's not a whole lot of logic to it, and it seems like the AI is given a lot more power than the actual player is. I'm not saying that they need to make NBA Live Mobile easier. I'm saying that they need to make those buttons actually matter and react in a way that makes sense. I would like to be able to get a chase down block. I would like to be able to steal a ball without just having to spam the steal button over and over again until eventually he pokes the ball away 1 in 3 times and I run down and score a dunk. I would also like for my player to not jump through other players. If there's an actual player in the way, I don't think my player should be able to jump with him. On the flip side, it also doesn't make a ton of sense to me that my center gets blocked by Devin Booker when he's right under the basket. I feel like there's a lot of unevenness, and for the most part, players don't really play all that much like their position like they would in real life. Most of the players play the same. Some have a little bit better dribble rating or dunk rating or three-point rating that might give them a little bit of an advantage in specific categories, but for the most part, all the gameplay looks the same. That's why nobody really watches gameplay videos for specific cards in NBA Live Mobile, is because the new 108 overall point guard probably plays about the same as the 102 overall point guard that you got 4 months ago. The only difference is that you're not getting the boost in Showdown that you would normally be getting. So I would say the number one thing that needs to be changed in NBA Live Mobile for Season 4 is somewhat realistic and reactive gameplay. The second thing I would say that needs to be changed in Season 4 of NBA Live Mobile is that stats actually need to matter. I would say right now, like I said before in my previous point, pretty much all cards play the same. Yes, some of them might have a slightly better rating, so I would say there's a couple stats that definitely matter more than others. I would say the steal rating is an important one, the dribble rating is an important one. Honestly, to me, three-point rating doesn't really seem all that important. It seems, for the most part, like whenever I shoot a three-pointer with my 102 overall three-point rating, it's about the same chances of going in as with a 115 three-point rating. For the most part, once you get past like a 99, it seems like just about everybody shoots three-pointers the same, and that one really doesn't make a whole lot of a difference. Like I said before, it seems like the only ones that really matter are probably block rating, steal rating, and maybe rebound rating. And I feel like those stats should matter more, because if the stats don't matter, then there's no such thing as a budget beast. It means that basically all you have to do is go for the highest overall, and it takes away the creativity of the game. It takes away basically the way that people have different looking lineups, because if overall is the only thing that matters, then everybody's just going to grind for the top overall and never do anything else, and everybody's road to the top is going to look exactly the same because there's no reason to pick one player over another. You just go for the highest overall. And I have kind of a sub-point that goes along with it, that it doesn't really make any sense for you to get a percentage boost in your stats whenever you have a higher overall in Showdown. If you have a higher overall in Showdown, you are already getting advantage in something that's supposed to be completely random. So not only are you playing against somebody that's a lower overall than you, if you're the one with the higher overall, but also they're giving you additional boosts, which means essentially if you don't have the highest overall, you're pretty much screwed 99% of the time unless you have completely mastered every mechanic of the game. The only thing that matters right now in NBA Live Mobile is overall. And I don't think that's the way that it should be. I think you should try to go for higher overall, but if stats actually matter, then at least there's a chance for the underdog to beat the person with the better overall lineup, because they've either found players that have better stats, that maybe some stats matter more than others, and there is actually a chance for the underdog to win. The third thing that I would say we need in NBA Live Mobile Season 4 is a working auction house. Like I said initially, the auction house is one of the three main things that draws people into NBA Live Mobile. And if you guys watch my other videos, you probably saw my video about how broken the auction house is. I'm not going to go too into detail on this point. If you guys want all my opinions on how broken the auction house is, you can go watch that video. I will try to remember to link it down in the description, and hopefully you guys can take a look at that and see how broken the auction house is right now. I'm not saying we need to go back to the Season 1 NBA Live Mobile auction house. I don't think that's ever going to happen because EA is not willing to allow coin sellers to exist. But the current state of the auction house is not a good one. I think there are a lot of changes that need to be made, and I think if those changes are made and the auction house works correctly, the economy as a whole will work a lot better, and we're also going to be a lot less likely to see these kind of situations where every single person has the exact same lineup, and you'll see a little bit more difference in between other people's lineups and how they work, how people have different strategies rather than just everybody picking the same strategy. The fourth thing I would love to see in Season 4 of NBA Live Mobile is accurate stats that aren't overboosted. Here's what I mean by this. Pretty much every card that comes out from now until the end of the season is going to be almost entirely 100 plus stats. The most recent Masters that came out, the Magic Johnson, the LeBron James, the D Wade, most of those players only had 3 or 4 stats that were below 100 overall, which just does not make any sense. If you think about the way that basketball works, there has never been a player in the history of the NBA that is absolutely top tier in every single category. There's never been somebody who was an amazing dunker, amazing three-point shooter, amazing defender, amazing free throw shooter, amazing big man. Like, nobody ever has been all of those things, and it seems like right now, pretty much every new player, at least based off of their stats, is all those things, which doesn't really make sense. Jason Kidd shouldn't have the same rebounding rating as Patrick Ewing. On the other hand, my Patrick Ewing probably shouldn't have the same 3-point rating as the Steph Curry card that came out 2 months ago. I believe that stats should reflect the way that the player played in their career, and it seems like right now EA just kind of randomly generates numbers based off the player's overall and throws those onto the stats. Sometimes if they're a big man, they'll give them a little bit extra boosted rebounding, or if they're a 3-point shooter, they'll boost their 3-point rating or whatever. But for the most part, every card in the game seems to have almost the same overall. Like, especially if you look at percentage differences in the overalls of every rating on the card, there's maybe like a 10% difference max for most card statistics, when that's not remotely close. Like, if you think about, I'm going to make a card for Yao Ming, now I'm going to make a card for Steph Curry. Pretty much none of their statistics should be remotely similar. Like, they should be opposite in most categories, in speed, in dribbling, in three-point shooting, in the paint ability, in rebounding. They should be pretty much opposite in most statistics. Yet if you look at a Steph Curry card and a Yao Ming card in NBA Live Mobile, their stats are pretty dang close to each other, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not saying you have to nerf the crap out of every card, but kind of like I was talking about in my first point, pretty much every card in the game plays the same, and part of the reason for that is that there aren't accurate stats. Every card in the game has almost the exact same stat, which just doesn't make any sense. If the reason for that is because you need the stats to be higher in order for the player's overall to be higher, then change the way that overalls work. But that's been the case ever since the beginning of the season. Like, it's not like at the beginning of the season players were really specialized in stats, and then as the season progressed, they kind of just evened out all the stats to keep it even. Like, players had low overalls, but across the board, the ratings were still relatively the same for most specific stats. I think if NBA Live Mobile is going to be fun in Season 4, then the stats have to matter to a certain degree, like I said in my second point, and the stats have to be accurate, because if the stats aren't accurate, then the stats aren't going to matter. The last thing that I will say I think needs to improve, at least to a certain degree, for NBA Live Mobile Season 4 to be absolutely amazing, is the graphics. I'm not asking for us to have NBA 2K mobile type of graphics. I know that EA probably does not have the capacity to do that, especially given the fact that 2K mobile graphics are about as good as NBA Live consoles graphics. So right now, 2K just has the absolute advantage in graphics, and I think we kind of have to accept that. I think that partially works to NBA Live Mobile's advantage, that they have lower-end graphics, because it allows them to cater to lower-end devices. At the same time, the graphics have not changed since Season 1, or Season 0 really, which is just crazy to me, because when a game has been around for, 3-4 years the game's been around now, you gotta have some kind of improvement on the graphics. Like, we had, when the game came out, what iPhone did we have? We probably had the iPhone 5. We're on the iPhone 8, the 8S, the 10, or it's not even the 10, it's the iPhone X. Like, I understand that you want to be able to cater to lower end devices, but at least give us a little bit of an upgrade so that it actually looks like a player's face. Like, make the people look a little bit defined in specific ways, If one player's more muscular than another, then maybe make that slightly obvious. Like, give us some sort of graphical improvement, because the game has not changed since Season 0 in regards to the graphics of the game. And part of that goes into the realistic gameplay that I was talking about before. Part of that is just improving a game because you actually want to give a good product to the people that you are making the product for. NBA 2K Mobile, no question, it's absolutely blowing NBA Live Mobile out of the water in this category. And I am going to be making things that I want to see in NBA 2K Mobile for next season as well, because honestly, they have been much more attentive to the community in seeing changes than NBA Live Mobile has. NBA Live Mobile, don't get me wrong, has done a lot better job this season, but even like outside of being a game changer, EA does not communicate with the community on really anything relating to their game. And I had only made like 1 or 2 videos on NBA 2K Mobile, and they already were asking for my input, asking about things they could do, and apparently we're going to be getting real-time PvP as well, which would be fantastic, but once again, not necessarily something that I think either game needs. I think both games have a lot of things they can improve on before that's an absolute necessity. But let me know you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure you guys drop a like if you haven't already, and make sure to subscribe to the squad if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.